I'm Miranda, and this is Nick.
Wait.
Welcome to episode 46
Uh-huh.
of the Ranting Podcast. This is our Rants on the Rocks episode where we review different types of media. First and foremost, I just want to say thank you to everybody that's come back to join us after taking an unplanned month-long sabbatical.
Yeah, it was a long month.
It was really
fucking
unintentional though, but yeah, like shit just got crazy in November.
Trips and vacations and fucking
I just felt like
holidays.
Yeah, I feel like the month came in like the fucking Kool-Aid man and then just like
gone.
Yeah, just crashed in one wall and crashed right out the other. And I'm like, where did the last 30 plus days go?
Exactly.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah, it flew by. It really did.
Yeah, so.
But we're back to it.
Yeah. So sorry for that. But thanks for just letting us come back and pick up where we left off. And hopefully we won't miss any more days for the rest of the year.
Yeah. I mean, from here on out, we got a pretty good schedule.
Yeah,
for
hopefully.
So,
But anyway. So we are back with a documentary that's currently streaming on HBO Max, and it is called Class Action Park.
I'm excited for this one.
Yeah.
This one looks fucking wild.
Well, I kind of went off the rails with this one as well, but like I think it's going to be fun. I'm really excited for it. And then there's also the added like excitement that you ended up not watching it.
I didn't get a chance to watch it. I'm going in completely blind. I'm actually looking at pictures of it right now.
Yeah.
Man, it looks fucking wild.
This place is crazy.
So can you explain why you had to go off the rails a little bit with this one?
I mean, I didn't have to. I just kind of did, I guess.
Yeah, why you did, I guess.
But so in the documentary, it's a lot of, I mean, obviously interviewing people that like had been there, either so the owner, Gene Mulvihill, his son, Andy, there's interview clips of him in there. And then people that used to work there, people that just visited and stuff. There's a couple of like celebrities that are in it. I don't remember the woman's name, but the guy I make a note of.
Okay.
But yeah, so a lot of it though, that they were talking about like when they were there and like their experiences being there and stuff. And then I just kind of started looking up stuff about the park, and I was like, this is actually a lot more than just you guys. Sorry.
Right, okay.
So
for anybody that knows, that has seen or is going to see the documentary, this kind of overview is going to be different.
Yeah, like I still talk about the documentary, but I definitely went and like started doing my own research and stuff.
Research, right?
Yeah, because like you'll see, this place is fucking nuts.
It looks crazy.
It's insane.
Okay.
So anyway, let's do it. Starting out, the documentary begins with old clips from Action Park, and it kind of looks like a commercial for the amusement park. And there's like a few different voiceovers of people describing Action Park. And it was essentially a water park, but more specifically, it was described as the chaos summer park with very little oversight, too much alcohol, whistles blowing, people screaming, and motors running. And even more notoriously, it's been described as the most dangerous water park in the world.
Wow. I didn't even know this was a water park. I thought it was an amusement park.
I didn't know anything about this before I stumbled upon this documentary.
Because half the pictures you see online are mixed.
You'll see.
It's like an amusement park.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yep. So people knew good and well that they were very likely going to get hurt while they were there, but unfortunately that was part of the allure. So now getting into the whole story and everything, they set the scene in New York in the 1970s, specifically on Wall Street. And this is where we're introduced to Gene Mulvihill, the owner and designer of Action Park. And he's described as being a high roller on Wall Street. He had a brokerage firm called Mayflower Securities, and this was during the height of the penny stocks, so like the pump and dump scheme as they described it. So they said, like, think of him as another Jordan Belfort, who's the man that Leonardo DiCaprio portrays in The Wolf of Wall Street.
I was gonna say that.
So for those who haven't seen the movie, though, the penny stock scam was when like worthless stocks were obtained by brokers and then they were sold to unsuspecting investors, like oversold, and like they just were worth nothing. Yeah. But all the investors basically just pocketed their investment. So apparently Gene had learned all of this from his friend, Robert Brennan, who was just the king of the penny stock scam. And soon enough, the two joined forces as the higher ups of Mayflower Securities. And then just as soon, they were suspended by the SEC for selling worthless securities from a bankrupt electronics company.
Solid.
Yep.
That's the founder of this park.
Yes.
Holy fuck.
So following that scandal, Gene was basically kicked off of Wall Street. So he then turned his sights on a couple of ski resorts in Vernon, New Jersey. And this is like in the Great Gorge and Vernon Valley area. Anyway, Vernon, at least in the 70s, it was viewed as the ultimate outdoor haven, and it had like really beautiful scenery. There's just ample space for skiing in the winter and like lots of hiking trails and just other outdoor activities for the summer. Like it was a good spot for both winter and summer.
Okay.
And then it was even described as an idyllic small town by Jim, and it was Desai, who was the director of park security at one point.
What was the name of the town again?
Vernon.
Vernon. Okay, got it.
Yep, Vernon, New Jersey.
Okay.
And so, you know, he said that it was like one of those small towns where everybody knew each other, basically. Okay. And but even during the early 70s, Hugh Hefner built a Playboy club right there in the hills of Vernon. Oh. And he had seen the rise of Atlantic City after gambling took over. And so he wanted to get a jump start of like getting things going in Vernon because it seemed like it was going to be like start becoming an up and coming place.
Okay. Looks like beautiful country.
Yeah.
Vernon.
And it really became like a huge hotspot for celebrities and just anybody that wanted to feel like that kind of posh but still exciting life. And so it was really looking to become a compilation of the next like Orlando, Vegas, and Aspen, like just all in one spot.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That's a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Gene wanted to have a successful ski resort. And like he wanted it to be so successful that he even went so far as to construct the world's largest snowmaking system, which was able to cover 8 miles of slopes and trails with up to 3 feet of fresh snow. That's what it said in the magazine article.
System?
That's what it said in the magazine article. That
today,
was, I don't know.
But okay.
I don't know.
8 miles. Okay. That's
what it said.
That's called a snowstorm.
So,
but okay.
So anyway, to combat the inevitable downfall that he was going to be facing during the summer, Gene began building rides. Thus,
on the same property.
Yep.
Okay.
So then the idea for the amusement park that became Action Park came to life.
Oh, so the actual park was stood up in Vernon, New Jersey.
Yep.
Got it. Okay.
And so now that was the vision, it truly became highly marketed as the next Disneyland. And when rides were built and the park was open, it truly had become like the most modern water park in the country, possibly even the world at that time.
Wow.
But Gene's like main motto was build it higher, make it faster, do something that nobody's ever seen before. And with that, Action Park was officially opened on July 4th, 1978.
I just want to say, can we just pause real quick? Can we just look at this fucking slide? What the fuck is that?
That is...
What is that?
That's the Cannonball Loop.
What the fuck is that? Do people go through that?
Yes, that's the Cannonball Loop. I'm getting there.
Okay. Sorry.
So this park very quickly became a popular attraction for everybody in the surrounding area. But it was also very well known that, like I said in the beginning, you were probably going to get hurt.
Or die. Yeah. Right.
So in its construction, Action Park was split into 3 sections. There was the Alpine Center, which was home of the famous Alpine Slide. There was Water World, which held the water slides and rides. And then there was Motor World, which was dedicated to go-karts and other motorized toys.
Did you say a year that the build
1978,
started?
it was opened.
Oh, okay. Got it. All right.
And then, of course, because why not? Through the middle of the park was a large highway. So it was basically built like around the highway.
For cars? Like
yes.
A real high. Okay.
Like Route 94, I believe it is. That goes through. Yes.
Okay.
So this is kind of where I started going off the rails with doing this. So just wanted to take a quick moment to discuss some of the attractions it's not a quick moment.
Okay.
So
4 hours later.
honestly. So, beginning with the Alpine Center and the infamous Alpine Slide.
Okay.
It was a 2,700 foot long Alpine slide.
Can I show it?
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about?
Yep.
This fucking thing?
Yeah, not the rails one.
Oh, yeah, this one.
That
Right,
one
that,
over there. Okay. Or, well, similar to that. This is in Colorado, but yeah, it's an Alpine slide similar looking to that.
Okay.
So this slide descended down the mountain underneath one of the ski chair lifts, which is how the guests would get up to the top of the slide. And it was literally just a big ass chute that guests would ride down in sleds that were controlled only by like a brake/accelerator control stick that typically only had 2 speed settings, which were described as extremely slow and death awaits. Now, keep in mind, this chute, which they called a slide, was made of concrete, fiberglass, and asbestos, which led to severe abrasions for riders who fell, especially those who opted to ride in their bathing suit, which a lot of people did.
Nobody's wearing helmets in these pictures.
It's the 70s.
Okay.
So not to mention, there were also hay bales placed at the curves of the slide as a means to cushion the impact for riders whose sleds jumped off the track, which apparently was a regular occurrence.
Jesus.
And unfortunately, it was reported that the Alpine slide was ultimately responsible for 14 fractures, 26 head injuries, and worst of all, the park's first fatality, which
Holy
I will come back to later. In 1991, a new attraction opened called the Snapple Snap Up Whippersnapper Ride. Say that 5 times fast.
I'm good.
I don't know how factual that name is. That's what it came up as online.
Okay.
But this was a 70-foot tall 2-station bungee jumping tower that was near the Alpine slide. And apparently at its opening, there was a TV reporter who had refused to jump off the platform, and then the person that was operating it actually just pushed her off. And
Shit.
Then the following summer, there were 2 more stations added. And guests weren't able to drop too far on this bungee tower. I guess they were also like tethered to a weight that would prevent them from bouncing back up and like hitting the bottom of the tower.
Yeah,
I don't know. Sounds sketchy as fuck. I never would have gotten on it.
What's this thing called?
It said it was called the Snapple, like the drink, Snap Up Whipper Snapper
Ride, yeah.
Ride.
Right there.
Yep. Yes. So there's that.
Okay.
And then in 1992, the Gladiator Challenge attraction opened, and it was loosely based on the TV series American Gladiators.
Okay.
It consisted of an obstacle course and jousting matches between both guests and employees. And the object was that during the course of a day, there would be 3 shows put on, and the guests that ran the fastest obstacle course times in like the earlier shows were invited to continue their competition against like the later people.
Okay.
So like come back and defend their title, basically.
Interesting. Okay.
However, by 1995, the attraction was closed and replaced by a beach volleyball court.
Okay.
Yep. So now over to Motor World. There were land rides, water rides, and air rides available for guests to enjoy. This included super go-karts that allowed guests to drive around a small loop track at about 20 miles per hour. Unfortunately, though, some workers knew how to tweak the governor devices in the go-karts, and so then guests were able to drive up to 50 miles per hour.
Holy shit, in a go-kart?
Which, yes, of course, resulted in several collisions. And then the same thing was true for the Lola cars, which were miniature open cockpit race cars that were driven on a longer track. And then there were the battle action tanks, which were one of the most popular attractions in Motor World.
Jeez.
And guests would pay an additional fee to operate small tanks equipped with tennis ball cannons for 5 minutes at a time. Nice. Not only that, there were also cannons mounted on the perimeter for a lesser fee. So, of course, there was a rule that you couldn't shoot the tennis balls when people were walking in the enclosed area. But in true human fashion, there's always those people who have no decency. So it quickly became one of the worst parts of the park to work in.
Oh, wow.
Because employees would get shot at with tennis balls.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And then, so the water rides in that area consisted of the super speed boats, which were located in a small pond, which was heavily infested with snakes.
Oh, good.
And these super speed boats could be driven between 35 and 40 miles per hour. And although those speeds couldn't be tampered with, it didn't stop the guests from playing bumper boats in the lake and causing collisions.
Jesus.
And it was also common for the guests to flip over the boats after crashing into each other, into this snake-infested water.
Yeah, yes. Okay, cool.
And then there actually were even bumper boats that were supposed to be safer than the speed boats, but they actually leaked a lot of gasoline, and they were smaller, so tall riders would often just dangle their legs over the edges and inevitably end up with injuries or even like fractures during collisions with other boats.
Oh my God.
And then finally, the air rides consisted of the space shot and the slingshot, two attractions that are actually still very common at amusement parks like Six Flags.
Okay.
The space shot was a tower drop ride, and then the slingshot was a bungee cord ride that allowed riders to sit side by side in a seat, and then they're like shot up into the air by the bungee cords, and then it often looped like upside down and stuff.
Right. Yeah. So the first one is like Tower of Terror.
It goes up and just drops.
Okay,
yes. So finally, saving the most dangerous for last, Water World.
Okay.
The water attractions at Action Park actually accounted for the largest amount of casualties at the park. The most notable ride in this section of the park was the Cannonball Loop, that crazy ass slide that you pointed out.
Yeah.
It was built in 1983 and can be described as an enclosed water slide with a complete vertical loop at the end, similar to that of a roller coaster.
Yeah. People are going to fucking sit or lay in that?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Employees were reportedly bribed $100 each to test the dangerous water slide. They said that they were sprayed down with a garden hose, and then they were told to just lay flat, cross their legs, and cross their arms over their chest. And then they just like flew down this dark tube.
Do you see this?
Yep. Ultimately, the slide was only open for like a month in 1985 before it was shut down by the state's advisory board on carnival amusement ride safety. Employees reported seeing riders come out of the ride with lacerations on their bodies, teeth knocked out of their mouth, and then it became well known that you had to be a certain size to go down the ride. They said in the documentary that if you were too small, you wouldn't be able to build up enough momentum to make the whole loop. And if you were too big, you'd get stuck in the loop. And they even said that there was one rider that got stuck due to insufficient water pressure. And then a hatch had to be installed at the bottom of the slope of the slide just in case for like future emergency extractions.
Wow.
And at one point, because so many riders would come out of the loop disoriented, Gene brought in a Navy physician to test the loop, and he found that the riders were experiencing as much as 9 Gs of acceleration as they went through the loop.
Wow.
And he said there's only 2 places you could experience that as a civilian. One is in the back of an F-14, and the other was at Action Park.
Oh, shit.
So apparently they would try to reopen the ride a few more times over the years, but it would just always get shut down again after just a few days because of injuries.
God.
So Chris, I don't know how to say it. It looks like Gethard. I don't know how to say his last name. But he's one of the guys that's doing the documentary. He's the guy from The Heat that's in the club, and he's like, I like the way that your shorts make me feel in my shorts.
Yeah.
So it's that guy that's Chris.
Okay.
So he was a really large part of the commentary in the documentary, and he was
that actor.
Yeah, he was a part guest as a kid. And he told a story about like how he had gotten hurt on a water slide called Cannonball Falls. And he described it as looking like just a normal water slide from the outside. But on the inside, he's like, it's just fucking pitch black. Like you're going down the side. He's like, it feels like you're just flying through the darkness. And then all of a sudden you just like shoot out the bottom and like you're just flying through the air. And yeah, he's like, it was probably at least 10 feet in the air because you're just shot out of the side of a mountain. And then you fall into water, which is cool and all. But then the water was cold as shit, and it was super deep. So like people would need to be rescued all the time coming out of there. And then
Jesus.
yeah. And they also talked about the super speed water slides in the documentary. They described them as being practically completely vertical. And for the first 20 feet-ish of the slide, there was a mesh canopy over the top to keep people from just like flying off. So like it came down like this and there's like a canopy right here. And like if they just kind of went out, the canopy was like, boop, come back.
Yikes.
Yeah.
That's not great.
No.
That sounds like it hurts.
Yeah, well, they said that there was a bar that you'd hold on to in front of your chest to like lower yourself down, and then you just like straight down. And one of the former park employees, Darren Fitch, actually said that you had to be just like free falling for a bit before you actually made contact with the slide itself, and then just like went down the rest of the way. And with that ride, it wasn't uncommon at all for bathing suits to go flying off.
Oh, I'm sure.
And,
yeah, absolutely.
And then a lot of people said that it felt like getting a water shot just straight up the bum hole.
Yeah,
so most people were walking funny coming out of the pool.
Yeah.
They're like, it didn't matter like what kind of suit you wore, what gender, like you were walking funny
if
coming
you're
out
free
of that
falling
pool.
for 20 feet and then you hit the slide, that's rough.
Yeah. So then there was also the tidal wave pool. And this attraction opened at the beginning of the 1981 summer season. And eventually it became known as the Grave Pool following the first drowning in 1982 and then another in 1987. And we'll come back to that because there's others.
A lot of deaths at this park.
Yeah. So I guess the pool was like 100 feet wide by 250 feet long and could hold between 500 and 1,000 people. And the waves would run for like 20 minutes at a time, and they could get as high as 40 inches like at a time. Yeah, they said there would be like really big waves.
Okay.
I don't know.
40 inches?
I don't know how tall that is.
Well,
40 feet maybe? No, that's too high. Inches.
It's inches.
I don't know measurements, guys.
40-foot wave in a wave pool.
I was like, wait, did I say something wrong there? I thought maybe I did it wrong. No, inches.
Okay, that's still significant. That's high.
But a lot of people either didn't realize where
that's like just shy of 4 feet.
Yeah.
Because 12 inches is a foot. So 12, 24, 30, I guess 36. So that's, just shy of, or just north of 3 feet.
Yeah.
That's a big wave. Okay.
But anyway, so a lot of people either didn't realize like where the pool got deeper. And so there was a lot of near drownings because of that as well. And so lifeguards reported that there was a lot of people who seemed to either forget that they couldn't swim, or, you know, even the people that could swim well would just get exhausted in the wave pool and end up needing to be rescued. But they said that it wasn't, or it was reported that there were 12 lifeguards that should be on duty at all times, but it wasn't uncommon for them, you know, to like on a high traffic weekend to still have to rescue like 30 people on a weekend. Yeah, because it was just so crazy in there. Yeah. So then there was the Aqua Scoot, which was invented by Ken Bailey early in the 1980s. And this ride required patrons to carry a hard plastic sled to the top of the ride. And then they would slide down rollers similar to those in like factory assembly lines, you know?
Yeah.
And then the pool that they would slide into,
fingers and shit.
Yeah. The pool that they would slide into was like waist deep. And the idea was for the sled that they were sitting on to skip like a stone on the water.
Yep.
The problem, though, was that in order for the sled to work that way, riders would have to sit in a very specific position, leaning back, but not too far. And if they weren't in that position, then they would typically be flung forward off the sled and like just sink and not skip on the water.
So the ride didn't even work.
Yeah, well, they would just ride down it and just like right into the water. Like it would just like nose dive right into the water. They wouldn't skip along it. So, of course, because of that, this resulted in head injuries. And in one case, a rider actually leaned back too far and then suffered a head injury that way.
Ooh. Lean back.
Yeah, they leaned back too far. Yeah, so where some people would lean forward too far and like fall forward, this guy fell backwards.
Did it say anything about finger injuries in the...
Not specifically, but I'm
okay.
sure.
Yeah.
I can only imagine.
Good way to break a fucking finger.
Or a toe or some shit.
Yeah.
But on top of that, riders reported that they would be hit by incoming sleds as they were trying to leave the pool. So like the people at the top weren't paying attention to the people at the bottom and would just like send people down. So when they're trying to leave, they're getting crashed into. Yeah, exactly. But to make matters even worse,
Jesus.
The ride was also home to a bee colony. So any riders that did linger for just a bit too long were liable to be stung. So just all around, bad design, bad ride, everything was bad.
Jesus.
And then there was also the kayak experience that mimicked a white water course using submerged electric fans to agitate the water. And, well, you guessed it, folks. There were often issues with this ride as well.
Yeah.
And kayaks would often get stuck or tipped over, and that would cause riders to have to get out of the kayaks to fix them. And that also brought some issues.
This is the same pond, right? The snake infested.
No,
pond.
This is a different part.
Got it.
But still, they had like the. I was going to say this later, but it's fine. In 1982, a man died after having to get out and flip his kayak back over because it was like there was like motors and fans and stuff underneath the water to like get the water moving, like make it feel like you were kayaking. I don't know, make it exciting.
Like whitewater rapids?
Kind of but not as intense as that because there's a different ride that did that. But this guy, he got out of his kayak to fix it and he touched an open wire on one of the underwater fans and he got electrocuted.
Damn.
And so then after his death, the ride was closed permanently.
Jesus.
So then there was also the Tarzan swing, which was described as a steel arch hanging from a 20-foot cable over a spring-fed pool. In the beginning, patrons would just like swing off and land on a cushioned area, but
do we know what a spring-fed pool is?
It's like a natural spring
from a spring
going into the pool. Yeah,
got it.
So it's not heated or anything like that. Was the point?
Sounds like
But in the mid 1980s, it went from being a cushioned area to water there, like they filled it in and everything. And then there was also like a kind of observation deck where people would line up to go on the Tarzan swing.
Okay.
So people would go up to swing off of this deck, and it wasn't uncommon at all for people to realize in that exact moment that they could not hold their body weight. So they would just go flying into the water. And Chris mentioned that people would like slap their heads on the water when they fell. And like, if that's never happened to you before, it fucking hurts. Like really bad.
It's like a, what's that called? When you slap the water.
I don't know what that's called.
But yeah, it's like that. Hurts.
Yeah,
it's
like
loud
really bad.
Too.
And so not only that, the water typically was freezing underneath because it was a spring-fed pool.
No shit.
That would require lifeguards to rescue people that would like experience shock and be unable to swim out. And on top of that, other patrons would be yelling down at them, calling them names and making fun of them for falling. Like just a bunch of people from Jersey yelling at each other, and like the lifeguards really didn't do anything about it.
Jerseyans are the worst.
Yeah, it just sounds like it was a really overwhelming experience for people coming out of the water.
Okay.
But in general, people would just be like really vulgar, both on the swing and as a spectator. Like guys would like pull out their junk or like moon their friends, or like they get up there and like flip everybody off, and like, you know, girls would jump off and like their tops would fly off and they'd come up and people would be like, whoa, look at my boobs. Like, yeah, it was just, there's a lot happening on the Tarzan swing. So then there was also an area of the amusement park that held the diving cliffs.
Oh God.
One cliff was 23 feet high, the other 18 feet, and then they stood above a 16-foot deep pool.
Okay.
So the point
was a legit cliff.
Yeah,
like
the
cliff.
Yeah, the point was to like jump off the cliff up into the pool, obviously. However, the pool at the bottom wasn't even blocked off to other patrons who saw it as like a calm pool to relax in. So, and there was often only one lifeguard on duty. And like, honestly, how are they expected to maintain the top of the cliff and the bottom?
Right. Yep.
So, of course, people would go into the pool thinking they could relax, or even after people like dove off the cliff, they'd be working their way out of the pool and someone could just come falling from the sky right on top of them because people up at the top couldn't see the people at the bottom.
From
and
23 feet.
Yeah, and there wasn't anybody to let them know that it was safe to jump.
How is this place? Okay.
I know. Well, eventually, one employee reported that they ended up painting the bottom of the pool white so that they could see the bodies down below easier. So I guess that helped.
The bodies?
Yeah.
The people?
Yes.
The bodies? Jesus.
That's what they said, could see the bodies.
Okay.
And finally, there was the Colorado River Ride, which still exists and was a 2-person raft ride that goes through a heavily wooded area of the park consisting of several forks, allowing riders to kind of try to choose their route. On the main fork, riders would go under a waterfall through a dark tunnel with twists and turns and jagged rocks, and then they would float out to a small pool before the final stretch of the river that consisted of like a bumpy downhill ride.
Okay.
The alternative forks consisted of another waterfall. Sometimes they would bypass the other tunnel. Another path would reconnect with the main fork. Others would have steep drops and additional twists and turns. Regardless of which route you took, you were likely to just get thrown around because Gene wanted the ride to mimic an actual rafting experience, and people would just fly through the damn thing. Like you would get on the ride and just fucking just go.
Okay.
And there were also often no lifeguards nearby because he felt that they took away from the authenticity. Because in a real rafting situation, there wouldn't be any lifeguards there to save them.
Except you have a fucking guide that takes you through the rapids that knows what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. Eventually.
And also, you're not going like that fast through rapids.
Yeah. He was crazy. Eventually, the ride was made to carry 4 riders in a large inflatable tube rather than 2 people. And then helmets became required following several injuries with other riders colliding with each other. Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
All right. What's this guy's name? Gene?
Gene.
She's a fucking idiot.
Yeah. So it really just became clear that these rides were built by people without engineering degrees.
Yeah, 100%.
They were just kind of like ride design enthusiasts that couldn't get into working at like large amusement parks like Six Flags.
Were all designed by Gene?
No, not all of them. But like these people, they would just like team up with Gene, and like this clusterfuck of an amusement park comes to be that way.
Yeah, jeez.
And
where everything's a hazard.
Yeah. Well, Andy Mulvihill, Gene's son, he said that these guys would come up to Gene with these crazy ideas and he'd just be like, yeah, let's try it. And then like during the construction of building these fucking death traps, he would make changes to make the rides more extreme. And, you know, he would often also just drop some like random idea that he had on a piece of paper, or like a napkin or some shit. And he'd be like, yeah, let's go build it.
This is fucking like Bam Margera and Jackass.
Literally. Yeah.
Just draw it on a piece of paper.
Yeah,
hey,
it's
let's
like,
do
that's a good idea. So at one point,
to LA.
they created like, I don't even think you could call it a ride, but they built a contraption called the Man in the Ball in the Ball.
The Man in the Ball. Who's naming these fucking rides? Like the Snapple, Snap Up, Whippersnapper. And then what's this one now?
The Man in the Ball in the Ball.
Okay.
So this consisted of a giant ball with ball bearings inside it with another ball, and you'd have to open up 2 doors to get inside. And Gene hired a guy to build a PVC pipe rail, essentially like going down the mountain.
Okay.
And the intent was for the ball to roll down the rails with a person inside of it. That was the ride.
Okay.
The Man in the Ball in the Ball. Well, on the day that they were testing the ride with a human inside of it, it was a really hot day. And they didn't know that the PVC pipe was going to expand, I guess. So when the man went rolling down the PVC rails inside the ball, the PVC broke and the ball just went rolling down the ski slope right over the highway and into the swamp at the bottom of the hill.
Oh my God.
Yep. I mean, he's alive, but yeah, that happened.
That's a fucking ride for you.
Yeah.
It went across the highway. Yeah. Could you imagine seeing that?
That's
driving
like
by?
some Beavis and Butthead shit.
That's
like,
fucking insane. Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah. So there was also the water slide that was inspired by zero gravity airplanes, where riders would actually take flight while sliding down. Which, like, it doesn't make sense to me. It sounds so painful. I don't know why anybody would even want to do this.
Because you got to come back down.
Exactly. Anyway, in the end, after they had tested the ride with some employees, there was a kid that must have gotten like a good running start or something, because they said that he just flew down the damn thing and ended up completely missing the safe landing area at the end. And he ended up having to be backboarded out of the park that day.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, he's fine now, but he wasn't having a good time that day.
No shit, huh?
Yeah. So that ride ended up getting closed. There was really just so much that happened at this amusement park that like wasn't well thought out at all. And
there's just no safety regulations. Like no one came and inspected this thing before it opened?
No. So as I briefly mentioned before, the park was built on either side of a highway. And the whole park was paved in asphalt. So if people didn't plan ahead and have water shoes, their feet were getting all fucked up from walking around out there. Ooh. Yeah. Keep in mind, asphalt gets hot as shit in the summer. So like, it wasn't good. There was also the fact that the majority of the employees were teenagers. They mentioned in the documentary that it wasn't uncommon for 14-year-olds to get a job there as soon as they got their working papers. And even the lead supervisors would talk about how they had only been there for like 2 years, and they would be given a radio and be put in charge at like 16, 17 years old. And they were just put in these management positions and expected to run like a third of the park, each of them.
Jesus.
And it was literally teenagers like training other teenagers on how to monitor things and how to rescue drowning visitors. But really, these trainings just became more about like hazing the new employees than it was about training.
Good.
But they like for all of them, it was just seen as like a rite of passage. So like, oh, I get through the hazing, and next year I get to, you know, like. That was just what they did. Yeah. So it wasn't like...
It's like, was it not Shenanigans?
Oh.
With
Waiting.
Ryan Reynolds. Yeah, Waiting. Yeah.
Kind of like that, yeah. But anyway, so like these kids basically were essentially the face of Action Park, because the older official higher-ups that owned the park were just never really there. Like Gene would go and kind of like parade around and talk to people, but it wasn't like in a professional manner of like making sure things are safe. Like he would just go and talk to people.
Yeah.
And also it was obvious that Action Park was not abiding by child labor laws at all, because these teenagers would be working like 40+ hour weeks running the place.
Damn.
And on top of that, New Jersey law stated that the ride operators had to be at least 16 years old, but there were definitely 14-year-olds doing those jobs.
Wow.
Yeah. And also, keep in mind, they're hormonal teenagers.
Oh, yeah.
So it was common for romances, hookups, breakups, and makeups to occur at the park.
Oh, God.
Specifically inside the shack at the top of the Alpine slide, which is where employees were meant to store their things, but it was often used for smoking and sex. And it was just so gross how they described it in the documentary. They said it was like 95,000 degrees in there, and it smelled like old backpacks, feet, weed, and ball sweat.
Oh, Jesus.
And then Chris was talking about how people would like have had to have had their first time there. And he joked about some kid being named fucking Adam Peter because he was conceived at Action Park.
Oh, God. Oh, how awful.
Yeah. And the employees would also throw employee parties, including a huge one at the end of the year after they'd saved up all the money that they'd find while cleaning up the park. And this took place in Waterworld inside the park and was called the Kamanawanalea Party. And they would stay up all night at the park so nobody drove. And people would just party all night and pass out wherever they could find a spot, whether it was like on a picnic table, under the umbrellas, just wherever they could find a spot. They would just party all night and pass out.
Okay.
And then, well, they said like depending on when they threw the party, sometimes they would like wake up from a picnic table and like throw on their whistle and go sit in the lifeguard like in the lifeguard chair and stuff, like go right to work. And
the park was still open?
Like sometimes
they meant like the end of the season or something.
Well, yeah, that's what I thought. But they're like, sometimes I would just roll right out of bed and go back to work, and I'm like, maybe don't do that when you have to work the next day.
Yeah,
but all right.
You stayed up all night. Oh.
Yeah, I know.
No wonder people are dying at this fucking park.
I mean, yeah, well, you'd think that there'd be more oversight or something, right? Right?
Yeah, you would think so.
No, not at all. Gene Mulvihill was not a fan of following the rules. And everybody loved him and called him Uncle Gene, and he just fully encouraged all of their shenanigans. He was just a really eccentric but personable guy. And he loved, like I said, just walking around the park, talking to patrons. But he also had some pretty kooky ideas, obviously. And at one point, he was talking to one of the employees, Joe Hushin, and he pulled out a cattle prod and pretended to shock himself with it. It was
Gene
fake.
Did.
Yes.
Okay.
It was a fake cattle prod. Joe says that Gene explained to him that people would try to sneak onto the lift, like to go up one of the rides, without a ticket. And he wanted to stop it from happening. So he was going to take this cattle prod and get some kid to try to sneak onto the lift. And he was then going to pretend to shock the kid, who would pretend to pass out and then get dragged away by park security. And he wanted to make sure it happened in front of everybody so that they would know he was serious. Yeah. And Joe thought it was funny and kind of brushed it off and everything. But of course, while he was away, he ended up getting a phone call about Gene actually doing it. And guest services had dozens of parents calling them, asking what the hell happened with someone getting killed at the park for not having a lift pass. So, he was just a character.
Oh, no.
And it was kind of off-putting to a lot of the locals in the small town. They felt like he was going to ruin their quiet town with all of his theme park antics, bringing in more rides and traffic. But he wasn't put off by that at all. He simply suggested that he's like, I'll just make my own new town and I just won't be a bother to them. No problem.
Okay.
And he's like, I'm going to take Action Park and we're going to get Hef and go take the Playboy Club and we'll create a new town called Great Gorge. And he's like, they'll, whatever. He just really never let any kind of bad press or anything bother him. Just kind of did his own thing.
Okay.
There was actually even an expose written about Action Park after it was discovered that they had been uninsured.
Oh, shit.
According to Gene, he didn't believe in insurance. He didn't believe that if someone got hurt at the park that he should have to pay. He believed that it should be their responsibility. However, insurance was a requirement in his lease and with the state. So what did Gene do? I'm glad you asked. He formed a phony offshore corporation, London and World Assurance Limited, as an exempt corporation under the laws of the Cayman Islands, British West Indies, and utilized it to issue and distribute fictitious insurance policies and performance bonds. That's directly from a highlight in the documentary.
Fuck.
And they said that nothing about his paperwork looked official, but Gene didn't care because it worked well enough for him to avoid paying for insurance as well as money laundering.
Oh my God.
And although he was warned against it, Gene thought that he was smarter and bigger than the state. So he went ahead and did it and ended up catching the attention of the state, which eventually led to a huge investigation that resulted in a 110-count indictment for charges including criminal conspiracy, fraud, theft, embezzlement, and tax evasion.
Was that just for the false or the fake company, or was that for everything?
And that was for everything that he did with that insurance company.
Oh, but not with the park.
Not the park. So in the end, Gene pled guilty to fraud, theft, and conspiracy, and he was ordered to give up Action Park.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Of course, though, Gene wouldn't stand for that. So he decided to make everything significantly more difficult for the state. He stopped paying bills. He stopped filing necessary paperwork. And in the end, his actions took up just valuable time and resources by the state to keep fighting against him over and over again. Eventually, they got sick of it and just decided to sell the land back to him just so they wouldn't have to deal with him anymore. And with that,
how the fuck is that an
Gene went
option?
right back to expanding Action Park.
This is Jersey?
Yeah.
Fucking Jersey, man.
He started running TV ads, building more rides, and the park was essentially more popular than ever. And it was at this time that the diving cliff was introduced at the park, that, you know, the one where everybody would jump on people, as well as Surf Hill, which was essentially a big ass slip and slide down a mountain. But that one didn't last long due to injuries, including one guest who broke their neck. And then there was also the Roaring Springs, which was designed to be a tube, like a tube ride, like on an inner tube, which sounds like it would be nice, right? But no. People would actually get hurt going into, there was like a tunnel that they would go into, and it was supposed to be kind of like a lazy river, but like faster, essentially, is what it turned out to be. Okay. And there was a tunnel that you would ride through on this inner tube, but people would like hit the side of the inner tube trying to get in it. At one point, there was an exposed bolt inside of it, and someone got a fucking huge gash in there. Damn. And then like coming out of the tunnel, people would often get bottlenecked at the bottom, so people would just like keep crashing into each other after going through the tunnel.
Jeez.
So yeah, it really wasn't a super relaxing ride.
So not a lazy river.
No.
In any way, shape, or form.
No.
Cool.
And then this is where we learn about a well-known acronym within Action Park, CFS. Can you guess what that stands for?
I have no idea.
Can't fucking swim.
Shit.
So with all these crazy rides,
why are you at a water park? Okay.
There was very little thought being put into safety, obviously, and not just by the park, but by the attendants as well.
Okay.
So people would go to the park whether they could swim or not. And they just wanted to go and have fun. And it was not uncommon at all for people who did not know how to swim to find themselves in a situation where they needed to be rescued. So
it's a fucking water park.
So employees began carrying Sharpies with them, and when someone had to be rescued, they wrote CFS on their park wristband, and it was kind of a warning for like everybody, really, that this person had already been saved at least once and may need to be saved again.
Jesus.
But
can't fucking swim.
Yeah. But I mean, like I said, when it came to Action Park, people did not fucking care if they could swim or not.
Yeah.
They were there for a good time, not a long time.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
Yeah. Like the park was described as being akin to the Purge because people would go there and just like run wild and like mix these kids with pent up rage and energy and alcohol and very little to no supervision.
That's right. They served alcohol at this fucking
place.
place.
It's fucking insane. But the more awareness that was brought to the public about it being dangerous, the more appealing it was to people who had like a certain void to fill. And unfortunately, for the amount of people that showed up for a good time, there were also those who showed up to cause trouble. So much so that it was reported that the majority of the police calls in that area were for Action Park. In the newspaper clip shown in the documentary, which was from March 10th, 1989, it said that violent crime had increased by 92.9% in the past year. And of the 397 crimes that occurred in 1988, 243 were attributed to the Action Park area.
Holy shit.
Typically,
yeah, go ahead.
It was people just being drunk and dumb.
Oh,
like,
okay.
That's really what
I
it
guess
was.
I should have guessed that. Yeah, the alcohol. Okay.
But Gene just encouraged it, essentially.
Well, so was the fucking state.
Yeah, well, I'll get there. He provided this large tent that served drinks, and he would host huge parties for like Summerfest, Oktoberfest, a Polish festival, an Irish festival.
Fire festival?
All kinds of fests. No, not Fire Festival. Oh, okay. They actually brought that up, and they're like, Fire Festival was bullshit in comparison to this because they're like, they fed you a fucking soggy sandwich. You didn't get shit there. You went to Action Park. You got everything you asked for. Like, yeah, you went there. It
Fire
was dangerous
Festival
as shit.
Would have been fucking successful if they would have went to Action Park.
They were like, yeah, he was like, it was crazy. You were going to get hurt, but like, Gene delivered on exactly what he said he was going to do. So, like, you're not wrong. Anyway, though, Gene just wanted to party, have fun, like all things. And it even became pretty well known, or a pretty well known routine, I should say, that Waterworld was for daytime fun. And then around 4 or 5 p.m., guests would venture down to the bar area, and then they'd make their way over to Motor World for some racing.
That's okay.
Drinking and driving.
Drinking and driving.
Good fun, yes?
Yeah.
So these people,
I no longer just blame Gene though.
No.
The fucking
no,
state.
this is everybody
absolutely
involved.
the fucking
yeah, 100%. So these people would, go have some drinks, then decide to go get in the go-karts, have some races, and they'd just fucking go nuts. And there was one guy that like started chasing after an employee in his go-kart. And then there were, like I said before, employees that knew how to jimmy the speed. So people were driving faster than they should be. And some people even took the fucking go-karts on the highway that ran through the park. Which is nuts. It's crazy.
This is insane.
So, yes.
How did you get the go-karts out of the enclosure, out of the park, and onto the highway?
It's bold of you to assume there was an enclosure.
Oh, gee, this is all just open?
Probably.
Just on the asphalt?
Probably. Yeah.
Okay.
So there were some injuries and some deaths at Action Park. And where is it? For specifically with the Alpine slide, like I said, this slide was just a 2,700 foot long slide made of concrete, fiberglass, and asbestos. And it was not meant to keep people on it at all.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it.
It was well known that there were certain areas that riders were almost like required to slow down at. Otherwise, they would go flying off of the slide. And then many times they went flying off anyway, or they like flip over on the thing that they were sliding on.
Yeah, right.
So this ride was responsible for countless broken bones, concussions, skin abrasions and cuts, burns, all kinds of things. And
so these little things that they're on, they're on wheels? I'm assuming these are wheels.
Yeah.
So this is the concrete, right? And then you have the wheels.
Yeah, and then that stick in the middle, that's like, I think you go forward, that's to go forward, and then back is to brake.
So
that's
there's some
all
kind
it
of
was.
propulsion kind of system going on here.
Yeah,
there is an accelerator and a brake.
The thing, yeah, that controls
Interesting.
your brake.
That
little,
right there, you
yeah,
mean.
that
Okay.
little thing.
Jesus, and this is all concrete.
Yep. And fiberglass.
Look at that. Look at all the bumps in that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, or is it, so at the first aid station in the park, they had a one-stop solution for everything, all kinds of injuries, really, especially ones from the slide. It was a single spray bottle with an orange solution inside, which was described as alcohol and iodine. And the employee would just spray the burn that the person got from this slide with that stuff. And unfortunately for the guest, it was probably the worst thing that they've ever experienced. But like people would get that spray and then go back to playing at the park and shit like that. But like people would be walking around with like this orange spray on like their burn, and they're like, "Oh, you were on the Alpine slide."
Jesus.
Yeah. Eventually, the injuries were so much that the local EMTs basically told Gene that they can't sustain the park anymore. That like they just didn't have enough team to cover injuries at the park as well as in the local area.
Wow.
So Gene ended up having to hire his own ambulance for the park. And truly, to make matters worse, there's no official record of how many injuries actually occurred at the park, because if the injury wasn't serious, then it wasn't required to be reported. Unfortunately for everybody that went to Action Park, the definition of serious injury was left up to Gene rather than the state.
Of course.
So if guests didn't leave the park in an ambulance, Gene wasn't reporting it.
Jesus.
Not only that, Gene had friends in high places.
Oh, there it is.
So it wasn't difficult for him to avoid fines and citations that might have brought more negative attention on like the dangers of his park. And you might be wondering, what happened with all those injuries then? Didn't he get sued? That is a great question. I'm so glad you asked. Gene would never settle on a single lawsuit, ever. Instead, he would force them to go to trial, and he would drag it out as long as possible. And eventually, most people would either lose or just drop the case altogether.
Okay.
Even when Gene did lose, he would refuse to pay whatever fines or whatever he was ordered to pay, unless, of course, the marshals were sent to collect. And then, only then, would Gene pay. So
the state is an enabler in this fucking situation.
100%. Yeah.
I blame Jersey.
Yeah.
Always.
So people would like jump into the wave pool, not knowing how to swim. One man even drowned, and by the time that they realized that he was at the bottom of the pool, it was obviously too late. And the craziest thing is, he wasn't the only person that died in that wave pool.
Oh my God.
There were others still. There were others, but still Gene didn't close it. And then there was George Larson Jr., a teenage guest at Action Park who took a ride on the Alpine slide and unfortunately flew off the slide, flipped down the hillside, and he hit his head on some rocks. His mother was only told that he had been injured, but when she got to the hospital, she found out that he had been moved to a different hospital. And while she was there, she saw the bed that he was in, which was covered in blood.
Jesus Christ.
While he was at this new hospital, doctors were continuously checking to see if there was any brain activity, but George didn't show any signs of waking up, and eventually the decision was made to let him go.
Damn.
After his death, Gene never contacted the Larson family. The spokesperson for the park even put out a statement saying that it wasn't the Alpine slide that caused his death, it was the rock that he hit his head on. Not only that, they told the press that he was an employee and that the accident happened at night during the rain, none of which were true.
Nice.
And
Good.
It's also been reported that the reason for this lie was so that Gene wouldn't have to report his death because as an employee, he wouldn't have been considered part of the general paying public.
Lovely.
At the time,
Gene's a
though,
piece of shit.
yeah, the newspapers were clearly on Gene's side, and they reported his side of the story. Yeah, it's just this area. And Edith, George's mother, said that like they tried to take Gene to court, but then eventually had to just like settle for $100,000. They didn't say whether that even got the money for that.
Okay.
And George's death was just the first one to occur at Action Park. In July 1982, there was the 15-year-old boy from Brooklyn named George Lopez who drowned in the tidal wave pool. And just a week later, the 27-year-old man was electrocuted in the kayak experience. In 1984, a 20-year-old man drowned in the Roaring Springs. And in 1987, another 18-year-old boy lost his life in the tidal wave pool.
How is nobody doing anything about this?
Well, you'd think that with all of that, there'd be some outrage within the town or something, right?
Something.
Wrong.
Families, something.
Yeah. Action Park provided hundreds of jobs. It brought in tourists.
Hundreds of jobs.
For that area specifically. So
Okay.
that's what we're looking at as Vernon.
Children, but okay.
Vernon, yes.
Okay, yeah.
Action Park provided hundreds of jobs. It brought in tourists, which then brought in more money for the local businesses as well. So it really just became obvious that people were willing to look the other way about the dangers of the park if it meant bringing in more money.
Kids dying.
Yeah.
You're going to look the other way. Cool.
Made it even more apparent that there were people all over town, including town officials that were in Gene's pocket. So whether they themselves had worked for him, their kids worked for him, or they had some like other business dealings going on, he just always had a way around like whatever bullshit came his way.
Clearly, yeah.
And as long as Gene had something to offer them, he was able to get away with whatever he wanted to, basically. He just kind of had a way of making it clear to people that he wasn't someone to be crossed. And he even would go so far as getting a journalist fired after she wrote about some of his business associates. And they told him that they wouldn't approve of his projects if he didn't do something about her first. So it was like just tears and tears of bullshit.
My child dies at your park and you don't care.
Oh, yeah.
I am bringing the fucking world down.
Yeah, I was going to say,
head.
I'm going to like burn your house down with you inside of it.
I'm going to burn it. Your fucking life
yeah.
down is what I'm gonna
Yeah.
do. That's insane.
Yeah. So eventually, though, more and more press began coming out with stories about the dangers of the park and all of the different violations that were happening. And so finally, attendance started going down, which, of course, made it more difficult for Gene to cover his bills. And then
What year was this? I'm sorry. What, last day I heard was 1984, I thought.
Well, I don't know when it started going downhill,
decline? Okay.
But I have a date here in a second.
Okay.
But Gene's top investor, who was, I think it was Robert Brennan, he ended up going to prison for bankruptcy fraud and money laundering. So the money spout that he was providing to Gene dried up real quick.
Good.
So not long after that, Great American Recreation, Inc., the parent company to Action Park, filed for bankruptcy, and the park was closed at the end of the 1996 summer season.
Oh, okay. 96. Okay.
Yep. So Action Park was eventually purchased by IntraWest, a resort company, in 1998.
The park being the name or the actual facility?
The actual park itself.
The actual park, the physical park. Okay, got it.
The new owners got rid of most of the park's attractions and renamed it Mountain Creek.
So the park sat unattended for 2 years. Yikes. Okay.
They took out all of the dangerous rides and they made it a pretty generic water park. And eventually, in 2010, Gene and a group of investors bought back the resort, but Gene died just 2 years later.
Thank fucking God.
Then, oh, Jesus. Then in 2014, Andy Mulvihill, Gene's son, he restored the resort's original name, Action Park, in an effort to cash in on the nostalgia. And they even announced plans for an updated Cannonball Loop, but luckily it was never built. Further on, in 2018, the resort was reverted back to Mountain Creek and taken over by previous employee Joe Hession. And from what I've read online, it looks like it's still operational and even recently got an upgrade to the Cannonball Falls and Tarzan swings for the 2025 summer season.
Okay. But all the danger shit was taken out. Oh, okay. Well, good. That's good.
Yeah. So.
That's wild.
What'd you think?
That's a wild fucking park. It was. I liked the story until kids started dying.
I mean,
and then I started liking it a little less because now I'm like,
okay,
now you're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
But with that aside, though, this is a wild story.
It's crazy. Yeah.
And I blame the state a lot.
I blame so many people.
What, you got tired of dealing with this guy, so you just gave him his land back?
Yeah. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand how that was the solution.
Like, if I just fight you hard enough, you're just going to give up? Like, okay, cool.
Yeah. It's like.
Now kids are dying.
I know.
Like, what?
Yeah, that doesn't send any kind of message.
The crazy thing, though, is the insurance thing, where he created his own false company.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That's funny. That's wild.
And
there's got to be a lot more to that story, though, because you said 110 charges or indictments. That's significant.
Yeah, he only pled guilty to like some of it, though.
Yeah. But some of the stuff that you said, didn't even go along with what he was doing.
No, there was like several times where like people would sue him for the injuries and stuff. And he would literally just drag it out and make the process as long and difficult as possible. Yeah. So like, that's why so many things just didn't go anywhere, because like he had the money to drag shit out like that. Nobody else did.
Yeah. From his financial backer.
Exactly. So he could sit there and like dick them around and be like, oh, we'll go to court. We're going to go to trial. Like he would take everything to trial. He never wanted to settle for anything at all. And like, you know, for the average person, who has the money for that?
Again, if my child was part of that.
I'd like want to move heaven and earth, but like if
burning everything down.
Yeah, it's just,
which is crazy.
Yeah.
And then also, I don't know if you can call this thing a fucking slide.
The Cannonball Loop?
No. That's plastic. That's
the Alpine slide?
This? I don't think you can call that a slide.
Oh.
It's cement. It's concrete.
Yeah.
That is not a slide. That's insane. This whole story is wild. And it's crazy that it's still there too.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know how I stumbled across this, but I'm glad I did, because
it's a Netflix documentary. Isn't that where you found
HBO.
It? Oh, really? Mm-hmm. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I don't remember how I came across it, but
yeah.
I don't remember.
Are you glad that you adjusted from doing the regular like documentary rhythm that you do, where you actually cover the documentary itself?
Yes.
Are you glad that you adjusted and did your own kind of synopsis?
I feel like I got some more like extra information, obviously, from doing my own research and stuff. But yeah, I think, I like the way that I did this one.
I'm glad you didn't do like not testimonials, but like the individual, like, I don't know what you call them, but the individual stories.
Like interviews and stuff like that.
Yeah, and all that.
There were so many people that I think I initially was trying to do like my normal format, but then I was like, I'm not going to remember who all these people are, and I don't really care to. Yeah. So that's why, especially when I started looking into it, and I was like, this is more about the park than it is about the people that spent time there.
Which I think is fair. I think you did it right for sure.
So I don't know. I mean, I tried to make it fun. So
yeah, I definitely like this one. This was an interesting story.
Yeah,
I'm glad the place is closed, at least.
Yeah.
From what it originally was.
Oh, 100%.
They should not bring that loop. I wonder if that loop is a thing.
No, like
else.
it said there was, I think it was like a video that they had put together or something to like show what it was supposed to look like. And it was supposed to be like a 30-foot loop. Like it's supposed to be huge.
30
That's
feet?
what it said. Yeah, it went down like this and then it showed the big loop and it had the measurement like this and it said 30 feet.
That's okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. I don't think a person is going to be completing
well,
that
it
loop.
was never made, so
I'm sure, because that's not how that fucking works.
It's a moot point.
That's insane.
But
they literally tried to make a roller coaster out of a water slide.
Yeah.
And not even like you attached or like you actually like physically held down. It's like, you're going to complete this loop.
Yeah.
Somehow, some way.
I don't know. I mean, obviously the 70s was a completely different time because like there's no way in hell I would let my kid get within like a foot of that place.
This isn't even the 70s. This is the 70s, 80s, and it
yeah,
stood
I
up
guess
in the late
90s it closed.
So, yeah, so you can't even say
still.
this is the 70s because this went on for 2.5 decades.
Yeah, that's true. Either way, I mean, it was clearly a different time.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is
with no
there's
oversight
just very
or regulation
little oversight.
and like
Yes, he
like
got
that.
away with way too much for way too long.
I wonder if it's because he was in the bumfuck country.
Probably because I mean, really, it was just like a small town. So I think that's another reason why
maybe
when they're talking about it,
Bumfuck,
bringing in like tourists and stuff like that, because it's such a small area. If they were thriving on that, then of course these people are gonna like overlook all this other shit. But yeah, you overlook it until it's you or someone you love,
or a child.
Yeah, like
exactly.
It's I don't know. It's just the typical, you know.
Yeah. And again, like, but even like that's why I had this reaction. The hundreds of jobs. Like,
yeah, well, that's what I'm saying.
Those
for that small area, that's a big deal.
I mean, it's for kids. It's not feeding the fucking community. It's not feeding the anything. You know what I mean?
I agree.
It's bringing in people to spend money within the town and all that. You know, bring in tourism.
I agree.
But it's not feeding the economy because 100 kids are making money.
I agree, but I don't know.
That's crazy. That is insane. What a crazy park. I wonder if the same thing would happen in like a big city. Like even like the 70s, 80s, and 90s. I wonder if he tried to pull this in a big city. I wonder if there would have been more oversight, more regulation, more eyes on it.
Maybe.
Instead of being in bumfuck,
maybe.
New Jersey.
It could be. I don't know.
And I want to come back to this. At the beginning of this, I could have swore you said something about him wanting to make this a Vegas, Aspen, and something else. Orlando. He wanted to take all three of those places, which are fucking massive, by the way, and then
make it all
one area.
Yeah.
That would like take up the state of New Jersey.
Yeah, but Gene said he could do it, and he planned to do it.
Gene's a douche.
Gene's crazy. Well, Gene's dead now, so it doesn't matter. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's wild.
It was a good one, though, but I liked it.
Yeah. I look at, obviously not as severe, but I look at, I hate parks.
Oh, yeah.
I hate parks. And I'll go to it just for like the kids and stuff.
Yeah.
But like, it won't be my idea.
No.
You know what I mean? I fucking hate parks because I look at them, and again, I don't mean it to sound as severe, but what you just described, that's how I look at regular parks. Fucking everywhere I look is just death traps. And I don't know, like before, we had kids, like obviously I didn't look at parks like that. I didn't, but as soon as we had kids, now all I see is like dangers.
Yeah.
And like, okay, that's gonna fucking kill you.
I know. Well, I mean, I think it's like that just in general, like not only for one, when you grow up, but then also like when you have kids and you have other people to be responsible for, then you're like, holy shit. And I mean, like I said, I would never let my kids go here. I can't guarantee that if I was a teenager in the 70s, I wouldn't have at least checked it out once.
70s, 80s, or 90s.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is like, if it was me, would I have checked it out? Probably at least once. But I would not like allow that, you know?
No.
But there's a lot of things that like as a kid, I was like, yeah, this is no problem. And looking back, I'm like, oh my God,
Yeah,
you could have died.
No, exactly. And that's why
Yeah.
if I look at regular parks like that, like how I do now, where I'm like, no, I don't like that because I know like you have to go through those things and you have to like, I have to let you kind of like.
Yeah, you got to get the bumps and bruises.
Yeah, you got to go through it,
scratches.
right? But I don't need to like, I don't need my anxiety to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you look at this fucking place and like, I would immediately take the kids and leave. It's like, no. You're talking about this fucking
I know.
cement. This cement
It's
slide.
not even that one that's that crazy. It's the loop.
Yeah,
that I'm like, that's
I would look at that,
insane.
and if one of our kids asked if they could ride that, absolutely fucking not. That's your okay. All right. That is your body. That's your body going through that loop. Look at this fucking guy.
Yeah, flying right off of there.
Oh my God. And that's cement. Like that's not
Yeah.
plastic. That is fucking cement.
And
That's
then we're
insane.
which one is that one? Oh, I think that's a different spot. But yeah, like the slip and slide, the fucking all of it really. There's so many different areas that just danger.
Yeah, all of it. Oh, yeah, I wanted to show you this one. That's what the guy was talking about.
Yeah.
The actor. Yeah, that's what he got hurt on.
The Cannonball Falls.
Yeah. Like this is insane. This park is no.
Yeah, this place is crazy.
No.
But that's what I had.
Yeah, that's wild. I'm glad you picked this one.
So yeah, I hope everybody enjoyed it.
I thought it was a Netflix documentary. I didn't know it was HBO.
Nope, HBO.
Interesting.
Took a little detour.
I thought it was one of those like I don't know, one of those like other documentary series that we watched, you know. Mm-mm. But okay.
No.
Interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's what I got.
I like
anyway, so for next week,
I don't even know what this is.
I don't really have anything like it's not super exciting, I guess. I'm just really fucking busy and I really don't have time for documentaries right now. So I think I'm gonna have to start switching things up for like the next few months, probably.
At least.
Yeah. I'm workshopping some things. I think we're gonna have to take like a bit of a improv turn, kind of to like similar to your episodes.
Yeah, it's like segments and stuff.
Yeah. So just real.
Which is okay.
Yeah,
like,
it's just like all the things I've just been juggling, and then like now I'm taking on more tax season coming up.
Yeah.
So like I'm busy, y'all. And I just hope that like the shift goes good and people aren't like too turned off by it. But I gotta do what I gotta do. I gotta keep my sanity and keep this thing going as well. So you know.
So you're gonna go to? Do you have an idea of what kind of segments you're going? Or are you still?
No, like I said, I'm still kind of trying
it?
to workshop some things and figure out what I can do.
Yeah.
But I just figure I need to do
That's...
something in order to keep going.
Yeah, right.
I just don't see a world where, like, especially during the height of tax season, where I'm like, let me watch a documentary and write about it.
Well, there's no way that you would have time because it takes
I'll probably
you.
just like come home and go to sleep.
It takes you hours to put these together, if not days.
Yeah, well, after
so.
like it just gets really busy, and after all that, I just don't see myself wanting to like.
And I mean, like,
put in as much effort as I do right now.
Yeah.
So instead of putting out shit, I'm gonna try and pivot.
I mean,
put out something good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, even if it's like a conversation, it can be segment driven, it can be conversation, could be
I don't know. We'll figure
anything.
something out. I guess if there's anything you guys want to hear, let me know.
Some channels
and do it quickly.
Some channels just do interviews.
Yeah, well,
like,
I don't want to do interviews either.
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that like it's okay to not cover documentaries all the time.
Yeah, no, I'm saying just because that's what I've been doing and start like had a whole thing going.
But what you could do is
to give everyone a heads
Rants
up.
on the Rocks is media review kind of driven. Maybe come up with a different one.
Yeah,
a different episode with a whole different structure, and then when you're ready, reintroduce Rants on the Rocks with the media
that's not
review.
A bad idea, I guess.
That way, you kind of, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll figure it out. But yeah, just kind of a heads up that next one's going to be different.
Yeah.
Don't know how, don't know what, but come back and we'll all find out together.
There you go. Yep.
Anyway.
That sounds good.
As always, if you're enjoying listening to the podcast, please like, share, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. And aside from YouTube and Spotify, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, School, and TikTok, all under the Ranting Podcast. Find us everywhere. Watch, listen, comment, talk to us. We like to talk to you.
And the school community is actually a lot different than the other socials, because that's actually like a more of a learning channel. That's for anybody that's not familiar with school. That has
there's
like
a lot of things
there's
on there.
a classroom section. So we're actually not only posting all of our episodes there, but we're also posting like lessons learned and like meet the creators,
things like that.
Look at the, you can check out the studio, which we're going to be building more of those kind of courses and videos and stuff like that. So it's a whole community too.
Yeah.
Community feed and all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Just come check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. But most importantly, keep ranting and come tell us about it. Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.